We welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Still unanswered questions as Madison tries to move forward after Monday's shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. The last official media briefing by the city was Tuesday. Also the last time we heard from Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. That is until she sat down with News 3 Now this afternoon. Political reporter Will Keneally has more. Will?
Well, Eric, as of tonight, UW Hospital confirms that they're treating 2 victims from Monday's shooting, both of whom remain in critical condition. Now we asked Rhodes Conway more about what we can expect from the investigation in the coming days and weeks.
I don't have any updates on them at this point in time.
No news on the status of 2 victims that remain in critical condition at UW Hospital.
It is up to the families how much they want to share, if anything, with the public. And so we're just trying to respect their privacy and give not only those families, but all of the victims' families whatever support that they need.
A focus on the victims was the tenor of our sit-down with Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway, her first sit-down since her recent viral press conference.
It is absolutely none of y'all's business who was harmed in this incident. Please have some human decency and respect.
What for me resonates the most, however, is what the victims and their families are going through, and that we not add to their trauma by exposing them publicly in a way that they're not ready for.
At the same time, the investigation will now change, as Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes announced Friday he is taking the top job in the Seattle Police Force.
He will obviously transition everything that needs to be transitioned during the month of January. We have an incredibly professional team at the Madison Police Department, and I have a lot of faith in their ability to provide continuity to the investigation and do whatever needs to be done.
Now, the Madison mayor says that Barnes will wait until February before leaving. This is part of an expansive sit-down that we had with the mayor, including her sharing her own experience of her family subjected to gun violence. You can see the full conversation online right now at channel3000.com, and you can see more this Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record.
Will, thank you. And like Will said, Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes heading to Seattle now. The mayor of Seattle making that announcement earlier today. And our Braden Ross joins us now with more on this departure. Braden?
Yeah, this is all coming obviously during a very challenging time for Madison in the wake of this week's deadly school shooting. Barnes addressed that in a video message to the city of Seattle that he posted earlier today, saying his focus is still with Madison for now.
Our officers and community are now navigating the emotional aftermath of this tragedy. My immediate responsibility is to support my officers as we come to terms with this devastating event. I look forward to joining you in person next month to learn more about the Seattle Police Department and our commitment to safety and service.
Now, Barnes has led the Madison Police Department since 2021. Some of his biggest accomplishments in that time include getting a body cam pilot program up and running and to helping to create mental health response cares teams. While in Madison, Barnes was also a finalist for 2 other out-of-state police chief jobs in Chicago and San Jose, California. Barnes's appointment in Seattle will still need to be confirmed by the Seattle City Council. As far as who will take over his position here in Madison, the city's Police and Fire Commission will choose his successor. It will also choose who will step in as interim chief during that search process.
Braden, thank you. A chilly weekend ahead for the Madison area. Blaze joins us with more on the drop in temperatures on the way, Blaze.
That's right, especially tonight into your Saturday, thanks to the fresh snow. And for some of us, this has really been our first real snow of December and the winter season. Some of us picking up a half a foot of snow, if not more. Arena, Boscobel coming in at half a foot. Blue Mounds, Fall River, as well as Baraboo and Brooks surpassing that half a foot mark. But towards the south, and especially south and west, that's where those amounts got less and less, as we were expecting, because that's where we were seeing maybe some drier air move on in, not to mention most of that moisture was further north and northeast. Don't necessarily look at the numbers here because they are off by a little bit. This is just an estimation, but the darker blues and the purples indicate where that lake effect snow, as winds were out of the east and then out of the northeast, dumped all of that snow into parts of Dodge County as well as Jefferson County and then further into the Milwaukee area. So that's the power of these low pressure systems, even weak clipper systems, and especially their paths really matter on who sees that lake effect snow and who doesn't. Because if that low was a little bit further south, more of that snow would have been towards Milwaukee than say north into where it fell. So In the wake of that, prior to yesterday, the Madison area hadn't even picked up half an inch of snow rather. But now we're at just shy of 6 inches of snow, and that's about half of what we would normally see throughout the month of December. We are going to be cold tonight, and for your Saturday, we're going to track out your Christmas Eve and Christmas forecast. And unfortunately, there's no more snow really in the forecast, but there is rain and warmer temperatures. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. Students in Madison are standing up against gun violence. Our Merrill Hubbard talked to high school students who did a walkout this morning in response to the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School.
Here at West High, hundreds of MMSD students are starting their march to support Abundant Life Christian School and protest against gun violence.
My initial thought was devastation, but it was also anger in a way, that these children have to go through this, and as youth, we have to go through this.
The peaceful protest comes 5 days after the school shooting at Abundant Life.
It was so shocking that something so bad could happen here. I had to go home and just cry to my family that we're not safe anymore.
The tragedy has hit our community and revealed a reality that these students are surrounded by.
I have never lived in a world where there hasn't been a school shooting, where that hasn't been a threat. We live in a world where we're very desensitized to a lot of death and a lot of killing around us. And we wanted to, as a community, come together and speak out against this violence and this hatred.
After giving speeches in front of the school, West High School students led the march with hundreds trailing behind them. How does it feel to have hundreds of people walking behind you to protest against gun violence?
This is just truly amazing. I didn't think we would get this many people to come, but every single person basically from our school is here, and I think it's so important since it affects all of us.
The swarm of students walked more than 2 miles to the state capitol, where they had a moment of silence for the Abundant Life victims. They also had more student speeches centered on unity and eliminating violence in schools.
It being so close to home, it really hits especially hard. And I think that in my community, we want to get out and we want to fight for our right to a safe education. And I think seeing everybody here today, I know that change will come.
Reporting in Madison, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Cleanup efforts are underway after the first significant snowfall of the year in Madison. Plows were on the road as early as 7 in the morning yesterday. Streets Division says it did 3 rounds of salting over the 782 miles of traffic lanes in the city of Madison, totaling more than 900 pounds of salt on the roads by the end of the day. Throughout the afternoon and evening, the Streets Division will be putting sand down in residential areas.
Because we don't salt everything in the city of Madison. What that sand does in those residential areas gets traction, provides a little bit of traction, so we're going to be sanding those spots that need it. And also those people, when they're in those areas sanding, they're going to be looking for spots that needs to be pushed back to the curb. Maybe that initial plowing stuff didn't get pushed back far enough for whatever reason.
Information on snowplow alerts, where you can park your car, and when to get your sidewalk shoveled can be found on the City of Madison's website under the Winter tab. Wisconsinites are expected to travel in record numbers to close out the year from Saturday through January 1st. AAA predicting 2.39 million people will travel 50 miles or farther from home. That's 76,000 more travelers than the previous record set a year ago. AAA says if you're heading to any major city, you'll want to leave early.
If you're heading through any major metropolitan areas or places where multiple interstates kind of converge, you're going to see a lot more congestion. You're also going to see less road construction. Typically, DOT will be suspending road construction, and we're well outside of the typical road construction season anyway. But you do want to head out early. The earlier you can go on any given day is going to be better.
AAA says if you plan on drinking over the holidays, it will be activating its free tow-to-go program starting on Christmas Eve all the way through New Year's Day to prevent drunk driving accidents. Winter weather could put a cloud over holiday travel as well with the major storms. They're not expected in the days leading up to Christmas, but several minor weather systems could create some challenges for last-minute shoppers and travelers. And the TSA expects to screen nearly 40 million people between now and January 2nd. Now, Congress is still finalizing an agreement to avert a possible government shutdown. Hopefully, agents screening all those travelers and the air traffic controllers directing the planes won't be working through the rush without paychecks. And with hours to go to midnight, the House did approve a new plan to keep the government funded. 196 Democrats and 170 Republicans voted in favor. 34 Republicans opposed. This new deal drops an added provision to suspend the debt ceiling, something that President-elect Donald Trump had pushed for.
In January, we will make a sea change in Washington. President Trump will return to D.C. and to the White House, and we will have Republican control of the Senate and the House. Things are going to be very different around here. This was a necessary step to bridge the gap, to put us into that moment where we can put our fingerprints on the final decisions on spending for 2025.
The bill is now being sent to the Senate for approval. If it is not passed, the government will shut down at midnight Eastern time. The Biden administration is canceling more student loans. The White House announcing an additional $4.2 billion in debt relief for nearly 55,000 public service workers. It's a part of the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which is designed to erase loans after 10 years of service. Altogether, President Biden has erased nearly $180 billion in student debt for about 5 million people. And still ahead at 6, Amazon workers continue to walk the picket line. Plus, getting your gifts before Christmas. When is the deadline to ship with the Postal Service? The latest numbers. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
As last-minute holiday shopping is underway, you may want to check those shipping deadlines. Tomorrow is the U.S. Postal Service deadline to get your gifts to their destinations by Christmas Day. This is for Priority Mail Express, so your package can be delivered the next day or within 2 days. Madison Postmaster also has some tips to make sending a package an easy process.
I do suggest you visit USPS.com because it will really walk you through what you need in order to make sure that you're prepared when you get into the lobby of one of the post offices to help that transaction go a little bit smoother.
And you can also check your package's location at USPS.com. Amazon workers are hitting the picket lines for the second day in a row, demanding better pay and safer working conditions. International Brotherhood of Teamsters Union organized the strike at hubs in several major cities less than a week before Christmas to pressure Amazon to negotiate a contract. Amazon says the workers are not direct employees of the company and only represent a small fraction of their workforce.
I just want it where I can feel a little bit comfortable, breathe a little easier. They've made $30 billion last year, $30 billion with a B, so we think they can afford to give us benefits, give us a living wage.
Now, Amazon says it doesn't expect the strike to impact holiday shipments. Meanwhile, Starbucks workers are also expected to walk off the job at some stores in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Seattle, with their union citing lack of progress in contract negotiations. When we come back, Blaze tells us about our chances for a white Christmas, plus creating your New Year's resolution. What new goal is taking the limelight away from the old usual weight loss goal. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
If you ask someone what their New Year's resolution is, you used to hear one universal theme: weight loss. But a new goal is taking the top spot. Psychologists at the Cleveland Clinic say since the COVID pandemic, they're seeing that more of patients are prioritizing their mental health with their resolutions. With the abundance of people looking for help, many providers shifted to offering virtual visits and otherwise expanding access. If you're looking to prioritize your mental health in 2025, there are some adjacent goals that can help you achieve that.
This includes stress reduction, relaxation, making sure that they reduce their amount of time on social media. All of these goals help to boost your mental health throughout the year.
Doctors say other habits that have a positive effect on mental health include getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, more exercise, and of course, eating healthier. Set to be a quiet and cold weekend ahead for the Madison region. Blaze joins us now with more on the drop in temperatures and our chance for a white Christmas, Blaze.
That's right. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. A cooler night and Saturday thanks to our recent round of snow, but we do see some mixed precip chances returning on Monday, and then again as we look to end Christmas. And then the real warm-up begins. We're climbing back into those 40s starting literally the day after Christmas. So what can we expect Christmas Eve and Christmas? No big systems moving through the area. So any traveling within the Midwest, not only Christmas Eve, but Christmas should be quiet, albeit cloudy. We're hanging out in the low to mid 30s, both Christmas Eve and Christmas. Winds are going to be turning out of the south as we go further into your Christmas evening, bringing back that chance for rain, maybe some mix at first. And then that rain chance is really going to be sticking with us over the next couple of days beyond Christmas. So the snow that we got yesterday and today is probably going to be our chance for a white Christmas. Back in 2023, we were in the 50s and we did have a brown Christmas. 2022, though, we had a white Christmas. So you can see since 2000 where the brown Christmases were and what was considered a white Christmas. So again, if you want a white Christmas, you really want this snow to stick around, but temperatures are going to be slowly climbing above freezing in the days leading up to Christmas Eve and even Christmas Day, and then even beyond that. So we really don't see any real concrete snow chances in the days leading up to Christmas. It's after Christmas that we open up the Gulf. We watch as southerly winds and a lot of moisture moves northwards and warmth moves northwards as well. Depending on how quick we can get rid of that snow, we may be able to squeeze out even a few low 50s by not this coming up Saturday, tomorrow, which is interestingly the start of winter, but that following Saturday. We'll likely hang out in those upper 40s, probably just based on the time of year. And again, if we keep the snow on the ground for as long as we can, but we are opening up the Gulf. So we're watching this warmth move northwards and this moisture as well. So much so that our friends at the Climate Prediction Center have us pretty much in a 90 to 100% chance of sitting underneath warmer than average temperatures, this bullseye right here, from December 26th through the 30th. And that warmth continues. That bullseye, though, shrinks a little bit, but we're still in it. That warmth continues through January 3rd. That's an 80 to 90% chance of sitting underneath warmer than average temperatures, both for daytime highs and possibly overnight lows. Anywhere in the purple is 32 degrees or below, and this is starting later. This is starting Christmas morning. Watch as the warmth just continues to move northwards. That freezing air really goes as far north as the Hudson Bay. So we are not going to be sitting underneath really any cool air, possibly for at least the next 10 days, maybe even beyond that. But the recent cold has brought down some snowy owls. This was in northern Dane County, sent to us by Carla. Thank you for sending us that photo. You can send it through their website or on that QR code right there. There was a look at your 10-day forecast. Keep in mind our overnight low should be right around 18 degrees. They'll be near 40 by not this weekend, but the weekend after Christmas.
And coming up in sports, Sarah Franklin turns pro, where she plans to play next season. That's next on News 3 Now. It's official. Sarah Franklin is staying in Madison for another year, but not exactly what you think it is. Yes, she'll be playing volleyball, just not with the Badgers in the field house. The back-to-back Big Ten Player of the Year is turning pro and will play with Love Madison. Franklin joins Lauren Carlini and Temi Thomas-Ailara as the former Badgers on the roster. The week-long break between games is almost over for the Badger men's basketball team. Wisconsin hosts Detroit Mercy on Sunday to close out the non-conference portion of their schedule. And they've taken care of business in that part. 9 wins out of the 10 non-conference games they've played. And to close that season out on a high note is really important because up next is a stretch of 18 straight Big Ten games.
We got to make a statement on Sunday for sure heading into Big Ten play because we know how deep the Big Ten is, how talented it is from top to bottom. So just getting in there on the right foot. We go home for Christmas, so just doing what we need to do over that time.
It's incredibly important. Every time we take the court, we obviously want to win, but as we head into conference play season, it's going to be about little details and getting better. And every game is an opportunity to get better.
It was breakfast and basketball at the Kohl Center this morning. Wisconsin women hosting U-Albany. First quarter, the ball finds Natalie Leitzinger, and she finds the bottom of the net from distance to tie this one up at 14. And then the Badgers went on a run with their bread and butter. First, it's Carter McRae getting inside and banking it home for 2 of her 15 points. She also grabbed 14 rebounds. And speaking of double-doubles, Sarah Williams was doing her thing. The offensive rebound and the putback, 28 and 12 for her. Wisconsin's 10 and 2 for the first time in 15 years. They win by 10. And don't forget to tune into this week's Wisconsin Huddle with John Blackwell. Show starts in just a couple of minutes right here on News 3
Good
Now.
start for the women, I think. Wasn't Albany pretty good, too?
Yeah, they had 1 loss. Now they have 2.
Sarah Williams, one of the best players in the country that
She's really
nobody
good.
really knows about outside of the Big Ten. Let's go to Blaze, final check.
And it is going to be a bit of a chillier start to your weekend. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy. A few flurries here and there. We're looking at the teens to low 20s. Winds should be light, so get out and enjoy the fresh snow while it is here because I think after Christmas, maybe even by Christmas Eve, I think a lot of it will be gone based on our temperatures. We're set to warm on up. A rain-snow mix Monday, but we could see rain return starting later Christmas and really stay with us from that Thursday through that following Monday as temperatures climb into those 40s for highs and overnight lows in the 30s. So ice fishers, you may also want to make sure that you're checking that ice, especially later next week, as it is going to become very, very thin.
But chilly this weekend. Yes. Get the snow down, turns into a cooler out there. Blaze, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6, folks. Have a great evening. We'll be back here tonight for News 3 Now at 10.